Hello and welcome to Journey Through Time, where we explore strange corners of history and nature in a calm and immersive way. Tonight, we wander into places where Earth bends its own rules, lands so unusual that science struggles to explain them. As you listen, let your thoughts slow, let the weight of the day melt away, and drift with us into wonder. Our first stop is the Danakil Depression in northeastern Ethiopia, one of the hottest, most alien landscapes on Earth. Temperatures soar above 50 degrees C, the ground bubbles with acid, and toxic pools glow in neon yellows, greens, and oranges, as if painted by radioactive colors. Crusty salt plains stretch for miles, steam hisses from vents, and lava lakes glow like portals to another world. At first glance, it feels unlivable. Yet microorganisms thrive in the acid, and the Afar people have mined salt here for generations, moving in silence under a relentless sun. Walking across the Danakil feels like trespassing on another planet. The silence roars in your ears, the air stings with sulfur, and the colors dazzle the eyes. Life here reminds us that Earth is not only blue skies and forests. It has a fiery, boiling side, raw and rebellious, where survival itself feels miraculous. From the blistering heat of Ethiopia, we travel eastward to Indonesia, where another wonder of Earth awaits, a mountain that glows with fire unlike any other. On the slopes of Java lies Kawah Ijen, a volcano famous not for its ash or lava, but for the surreal flames that shimmer in electric blue across the darkness of night. By day, it looks ordinary enough, a crater crowned by rocky ridges and filled with a turquoise lake that reflects the gray clouds above. But as the sun sets and shadows fall, the volcano reveals its secret. Out of cracks in the rock, molten sulfur seeps upward. When exposed to oxygen, it ignites, and in the stillness of night, the flames burn in shades of blue, glowing like rivers of light across black stone. The spectacle is so alien, so dreamlike, that it feels less like geology and more like a vision conjured from myth. The beauty hides danger. The air is heavy with sulfur dioxide, stinging eyes and burning lungs. Workers descend into the crater to mine bright yellow sulfur, carrying heavy loads on their backs, while wrapped in scraps of cloth to shield themselves. Their lives depend on this toxic harvest. Tourists, meanwhile, hike through the dark to catch a glimpse of the flames, guided by flashlights along narrow paths. At the summit, silence often takes over. The night sky glows faintly, the crater breathes fire, and the mountain seems alive, whispering in color instead of words. The flames are not lava. They are burning gas, proof that Earth holds energy deeper than we often imagine. And yet, in this dangerous place, wonder blossoms. Blue fire licking the rock becomes a symbol of resilience. Even where the air chokes and the ground trembles, something beautiful emerges, something rare enough to make the night unforgettable. So let this image linger as you breathe slowly. A volcano wrapped in darkness, glowing blue as if Earth itself is dreaming. A reminder that our world still has secrets, and that not every flame needs to be red. Far from the jungles and volcanic fires of Indonesia, the golden sands of Africa conceal one of Earth's grandest enigmas. In the vast Sahara Desert of Mauritania lies the Eye of the Sahara, also called the Rishat structure, a colossal circle etched into the earth so perfectly that it is visible from space. From the ground, it seems like little more than layers of stone, but from above, it reveals itself as a spiral, nearly 26 miles wide, a bullseye carved into the desert. For years, scientists thought it was a meteor impact, but the rocks tell a different story. No signs of cosmic collision, no melted remnants, Others suggested it was once a volcano, yet no lava was ever found. Instead, the eye remains a puzzle, perhaps formed by natural uplift and erosion over millions of years. Astronauts use it as a landmark, while dreamers whisper that it could be Atlantis, its circular walls and waterways buried beneath sand. Whether born of geology or legend, the eye humbles anyone who sees it. From orbit, it looks like the Earth itself is staring upward, watching, waiting, reminding us that not every mystery is hidden. Some are in plain sight, simply too vast to comprehend. From this silent desert spiral, we drift across the ocean to Venezuela, where the sky refuses to sleep. Near Lake Maracaibo flashes one of the strangest natural spectacles on Earth, Catatumbo lightning. Here, storms erupt not with thunder and rain, but with endless streaks of light that dance across the heavens, up to 260 nights a year. Imagine sitting in a quiet boat as the night grows still. Then, without sound, the sky begins to pulse. White, violet, and blue veins of electricity flashing from cloud to cloud in silence, as though the stars themselves are winking awake. Scientists explain it through the meeting of warm Caribbean air and cool mountain breezes, creating an eternal loop of storms. But knowing the science does not erase the awe. For centuries, sailors navigated by this light show, treating it as a lighthouse in the sky. For local communities, it is sacred, a heartbeat of the heavens. One strike every few seconds, yet no thunder, only pure illumination. To witness it is to see the sky breathe. To sleep under it is to dream of a world where storms whisper rather than roar. And as you drift tonight, picture both wonders at once. The eye of stone staring from the desert floor, and the silent lightning pulsing above a South American lake. Earth speaks in circles and in flashes, in silence and in fire, and each voice tells us the same truth. Our planet is alive with secrets, waiting to be seen. In the forests of Minnesota, far from deserts and lightning skies, a quiet river hides a puzzle that defies every attempt at explanation. This place is called Devil's Kettle, a waterfall where half of the Brule River flows on like any normal stream, tumbling toward Lake Superior, while the other half plunges into a gaping hole in the rock and vanishes. Scientists have poured dyes, dropped marked balls, even used small GPS trackers to trace where the water goes. Every experiment has failed. The water disappears, never reappearing downstream, as if the Earth simply swallows it whole. Theories suggest underground lava tubes or deep fissures in ancient volcanic rock, but no one has confirmed an exit. In an age when satellites map oceans and probes roam Mars, a river in Minnesota still guards its secret. Visitors stand in awe, listening to the rushing water split in two, one path familiar, the other into silence, a reminder that mystery sometimes lives in the simplest streams. From northern forests, we journey south into a desert that seems equally unwilling to explain itself. In the barren plains of northern Mexico lies the Zone of Silence, a triangular stretch of land where compasses spin, radios die, and signals vanish. Step inside, and even the air feels heavier, as though sound itself is being absorbed. Phones stop working, watches behave strangely, and some travelers report eerie lights hovering over the sands, shifting and glowing before fading into nothing. Scientists argue that magnetic minerals in the soil might be to blame, interfering with instruments. Yet that cannot explain everything. Not the animals that act oddly, nor the plants that grow in strange patterned ways, nor the stories told for generations of tall, glowing figures who appear briefly, speaking perfect Spanish, only to vanish again. In 1970, a U.S. missile test went astray and landed directly in the Zone of Silence, as though pulled there by some unseen hand, deepening the legend. To walk in this desert is to feel both exposed and watched, not by predators or people, but by the land itself. Silence presses in, broken only by the crunch of footsteps and the sigh of wind. Some call it a scientific anomaly, others a portal, others still a cosmic joke. Whatever the cause, the zone does not yield its truth. It remains what it has always been, a quiet riddle in the sands, whispering that not every question demands an answer. Two very different places, one where water vanishes into stone, another where sound and signals dissolve into air. Yet both leave us with the same humbling thought. Even in the most ordinary corners of Earth, rules bend, vanish, and remind us that our planet is stranger than we know. Beneath an ordinary field in Romania lies a place sealed away for over 5 million years, a world cut off from the sun, the wind, and even fresh air. This is Mobile Cave, discovered by accident in 1986, when workers were surveying for a power plant. What they uncovered was not a cavern of crystals or treasure, but a toxic underworld where life had evolved in complete isolation. The air is heavy with carbon dioxide and hydrogen sulfide, almost impossible for humans to breathe without equipment. Yet within this suffocating darkness, scientists found more than 50 unique species: pale insects, blind spiders, centipedes, leeches, even strange water scorpions. They survive not by sunlight, but by chemosynthesis, bacteria transforming sulfur and methane into energy. Here, evolution has written a secret chapter, proving life does not need the sun to thrive. Some researchers even believe Mobile may be the closest example we have of ecosystems that could exist on other planets. While humanity built cities and launched rockets, this cave remained unchanged, quietly nurturing its alien colony beneath the Earth. From an invisible world below, we shift to roads above, where gravity itself appears to bend. Across the globe, from India's Ladakh region to Canada's New Brunswick, lie strange stretches known as magnetic hills or mystery spots. Stop your car, put it in neutral, and instead of rolling downhill, it drifts backward, upward, defying everything you expect. Water poured on the road flows the wrong way, balls roll uphill, and even standing still feels oddly tilted. Science explains it as an optical illusion: horizons skewed, landscapes tilted just enough to trick the eye. What looks like uphill is actually down. Yet knowing the truth doesn't erase the wonder. Watching your car slide against gravity still feels magical, as if Earth is winking at you, reminding us that perception is fragile and the world is not always as it appears. Children laugh, adults scratch their heads, and for a moment everyone is reminded how joyfully strange reality can be. High in the Himalayas, however, the wonder turns more haunting. At nearly 16,000 feet lies a small frozen pond called Rupkund Lake, but most know it as Skeleton Lake. For much of the year it sits under ice, silent and still. Yet when the summer sun melts its surface, bones emerge, hundreds of skeletons scattered around and beneath the water. The first discovery in the 1940s sparked wild theories. Were these Japanese soldiers from World War II? Bandits slain in battle? Ancient pilgrims caught in disaster? Modern analysis deepened the mystery. Radiocarbon dating showed the remains came from different centuries, and DNA revealed they belonged to groups from both South Asia and, astonishingly, the Mediterranean. Some had died more than 1,000 years apart, yet all ended in the same lonely alpine lake. One explanation suggests a sudden hailstorm with massive ice stones struck a group of travelers, killing them instantly. Skulls cracked, bodies collapsed, left for the snow to cover. But that still cannot explain why other groups, centuries later, also perished in the same place. Was it pilgrimage, misfortune, or something in the land itself that drew people back? Today, hikers still make the difficult journey to see the bones, bleached and brittle, reminders of how fragile human life is against the might of the mountains. Together, these three mysteries, an underground cave sealed in toxic breath, a hill that tricks our eyes into doubting gravity, and a frozen lake littered with centuries of skeletons, show us that wonder does not belong to one kind of place. It can be hidden in the dark, disguised in plain sight, or buried under ice. And each one whispers the same truth. Our world is stranger, deeper, and more unknowable than we imagine. On the island of Java rises a mountain that refuses to rest. Mount Semeru, the highest volcano in Indonesia, is known as the Great Mountain, and it has earned that name not by size alone, but by rhythm. Every 20 minutes, day and night, it erupts, small plumes of ash and gas bursting skyward like the steady heartbeat of the earth itself. To live near such a force might sound impossible, yet villages thrive in its shadow. The volcanic soil, though born of fire, is rich and fertile, feeding crops that sustain communities. Children play, farmers work, and every half hour or so, a dull rumble rolls across the land, a reminder of the living power beneath their feet. To outsiders, Semeru seems dangerous. To locals, it is life itself, both threat and gift, both destroyer and provider. Watching the volcano is like watching a giant breathe, steady and eternal, and realizing that renewal and destruction are never far apart. From the steady rhythm of fire, we turn to the skies of northeast India, where each year the air itself becomes a stage for tragedy. In the small village of Jatinga, birds begin to fall from the night sky. Perfectly healthy creatures, kites, herons, partridges, and more than 40 species, suddenly dive straight down, crashing into buildings, trees, or the earth. It happens only in the late monsoon season, only on foggy, moonless nights, and only along a narrow strip of land less than 2 miles long. For over a century, villagers have watched in confusion, fear, and sorrow as the skies open and birds plummet without warning. Some say the lights of the village disorient them. Others blame strange winds or magnetic anomalies. Scientists have studied it for decades, but no single answer has solved the mystery. To call it bird suicide is misleading. These creatures are not choosing death. They are responding to something we do not understand, pulled downward by forces unseen. Today, locals even switch off lights to reduce the falls, hoping to save lives in a ritual of compassion against a mystery older than memory. Standing in Jatinga at night is like standing beneath a sky haunted by its own secret, every shadow above holding the possibility of wings falling without reason. From India, we cross to East Africa, to a borderland between Djibouti and Ethiopia, where the ground itself looks like another planet. This is Lake Abbey, a salt lake surrounded not by trees or mountains, but by hundreds of towering limestone chimneys. Some stretch more than 100 feet into the air, jagged and sharp, like the ruins of an ancient alien city. From their tops, steam vents hiss endlessly, filling the horizon with white clouds and the faint smell of sulfur. The land here is cracked and dry, a pancake of earth baked under relentless sun. The lake itself shrinks year by year, shallow and briny, more mirror than water. And yet the strange spires stand, casting long shadows at sunset, while the steam glows pink and gold in fading light. At night, under a sky untouched by city lights, the stars shine with impossible clarity, while the towers rise like guardians against the silence. Local nomads speak of spirits whispering among the vents, and it is not hard to believe them, for in such a place, silence feels alive. Few visit Lake Abbey, and perhaps that is fitting. Its alien beauty is not meant for crowds. It feels like a secret Earth has hidden away, a reminder that our planet is capable of landscapes stranger than any dream. To stand here is to stand on the border between worlds, one foot in the familiar, the other in the surreal, where time slows and the Earth speaks softly in steam. 3 places, each so different: a volcano breathing fire like a clock, a village sky turned into a stage of inexplicable death, and a desert lake where stone towers pierce the horizon. Together they remind us that Earth is a restless storyteller, weaving tales of fire, feather, and stone, each one stranger and more haunting than the last. Deep in the frozen heart of Siberia lies a place older than empires and deeper than imagination: Lake Baikal. On the surface it appears as just another vast sheet of water, framed by mountains and forests. But step closer, and you realize it is something altogether different. The oldest, deepest, and perhaps most mysterious lake on Earth. Baikal is estimated to be more than 25 million years old, a survivor from ages long vanished, a witness to ice ages, mammoths, and the rise and fall of civilizations. While other lakes dried, filled with sediment, or shifted with the land, Baikal endured. At its greatest depth, it plunges over 5,300 feet, more than a mile straight down. If the tallest skyscrapers in the world were placed inside, they would vanish without a trace beneath its waters. But the numbers alone do not capture its wonder. Baikal contains about 20% of all the unfrozen fresh water on Earth, enough to sustain entire nations. The water is so clear that in winter, when the lake freezes, the ice becomes like glass. Travelers can look 50 feet beneath their feet, seeing stones, fish, and trapped bubbles, as if walking on a transparent sky. Photographers often describe it as walking across stars, for beneath the ice lie frozen spheres of methane gas that sparkle like constellations. The mysteries of Baikal reach deeper still. The lake is home to thousands of species found nowhere else on the planet. Tiny transparent fish swim in its depths, shrimp-like creatures flit through its waters, and the most famous resident, the Baikal seal, lives here alone, far from any sea. No one fully knows how these animals came to be in such isolation. Some scientists believe ancient rivers once connected Baikal to the Arctic Ocean, allowing seals to swim inland. Others think they are relics from prehistoric inland seas, long vanished. Whatever the truth, they now belong only to Baikal, a living reminder of evolution's strange paths. Legends surround this place as much as science. Indigenous Buryat people have long considered Baikal sacred, believing spirits dwell in its waters and voices echo beneath the ice. On quiet nights, travelers claim to hear strange sounds, cracks and groans that sing like otherworldly choirs. Scientists explain them as the shifting of ice plates, yet the experience feels less like physics and more like the Earth itself humming. Even the depths hold secrets. Thermal vents release hot water in the coldest zones, supporting ecosystems normally found only in oceans. The lake floor is alive with geological activity, cracks and movements hinting at its future as the site of a new ocean millions of years from now. Baikal, in many ways, is a seed of tomorrow's sea, quietly stretching and shifting beneath the frozen surface. To stand on its frozen expanse is to stand at the meeting of past and future, to feel both ancient time and coming ages pressing against your skin. Imagine kneeling on the glassy ice, stars above and stars below, each frozen bubble glowing in the pale winter sun. It is as if you float between two skies, suspended in the breath of Earth itself. Baikal is not merely a lake. It is a living chronicle, a mirror of time, and a reminder that some wonders endure long enough to outlast every story we tell. In the heart of California's Death Valley, one of the hottest and driest places on Earth, lies a barren desert plain called Racetrack Playa. At first glance, it seems lifeless, an endless expanse of cracked, sun-baked earth, framed by distant rocky hills and a sky that almost never clouds. But here, in this stillness, nature performs one of its quietest and strangest miracles. Across the playa are scattered massive rocks, some weighing hundreds of pounds. And yet, impossibly, these stones move. They leave long trails etched into the mud, winding paths that stretch for dozens of feet, curving and twisting like footprints left in slow motion. Some rocks travel in parallel lines, others seem to change direction mid-journey, as if they paused to reconsider their path. The strangest part? No one has ever seen them move. For decades, the sailing stones baffled everyone who visited. How could such heavy objects glide across a flat desert floor without human help? There were no animals strong enough to drag them, no winds fierce enough to push them, no earthquakes recorded at the times they shifted. The desert seemed to come alive only in secret, whispering its mystery when no eyes were watching. Theories rose like mirages. Some thought magnetic forces deep below were pulling the stones. Others imagined subtle earthquakes too small to feel nudging them along. A few even joked that the rocks were alive, roaming under moonlight like creatures caught between myth and geology. Photographers came year after year, capturing the stones in place, returning later to find them shifted, their trails stretching like signatures of an invisible dance. It wasn't until the 21st century that science finally began to catch the stones in the act. Researchers placed GPS trackers on some rocks and waited. What they discovered was as delicate as it was unexpected. During rare winter rains, a thin layer of water collects on the playa, turning the cracked soil into a shallow mirror. Overnight, this water freezes into sheets of transparent ice, trapping the stones quietly beneath. As the desert sun rises, the ice begins to crack into large floating panels. A breeze, gentle, no stronger than what might stir a leaf, pushes the sheets, and with them, the rocks slide forward. Inch by inch, almost imperceptibly, they glide across the wet, slippery mud. When the ice melts and the water evaporates, the rocks remain, but their trails are etched into the earth like the strokes of a giant calligraphy brush. Even knowing the explanation, the sight retains its magic. Because this is not a trick staged for cameras, nor a phenomenon of constant movement. It requires perfect timing. Rain in a desert that almost never rains, freezing nights in a land known for heat, and just the right breeze. Days later, the playa dries again, erasing any sign of water or ice. What remains are trails, silent proof that the impossible happened while no one was looking. To walk across Racetrack Playa is to feel both awe and humility. The ground crunches softly beneath your feet, and around you lie heavy stones resting in stillness, their trails stretching far behind them. You know they moved, yet they refuse to show you how. In a world where every mystery seems solved, where satellites track storms and machines measure the shifting of tectonic plates, here remains a stage where Earth performs in secret, a play for no audience. The sailing stones remind us that not all mysteries roar. Some whisper, some glide across the desert floor when the world is asleep, leaving behind questions not to frustrate us but to remind us of wonder. They show that the universe is patient, that beauty does not always reveal itself in explosions or fire, but sometimes in silence, in ice, in the smallest nudge of wind. So imagine yourself standing in Death Valley at twilight. The air cools after a day of merciless heat. The horizon glows red, then fades into indigo. Around you, the stones sit scattered like actors frozen after a dance. Their trails curl and twist across the playa, evidence of journeys taken in secret. You stand in silence, knowing that perhaps, right now, as night descends and stars emerge, somewhere out there, one of the stones is moving, slowly, silently, impossibly, sliding across the desert as if guided by an unseen hand. High above the steaming jungles of Borneo, where the air grows thin and clouds drift low, there exists a world unlike any other. The cloud forests of Mount Kinabalu. Rising more than 13,000 feet into the sky, Kinabalu is the tallest peak on the island. But its true wonder lies not in its rocky summit, but in the belt of mist-shrouded forest that clings to its middle slopes, a place where time seems to pause and the earth itself exhales. Step into this forest, and the first thing you notice is the silence. Not the empty silence of a desert, but a living hush, soft and heavy, as though every sound has been wrapped in moss. Trees twist upward, their trunks gnarled and ancient, cloaked in thick green coats of lichen and epiphytes. Ferns unfurl like fingers from the damp soil, and orchids bloom in unlikely places, their petals luminous in the dim light that filters through the fog. Here, the clouds do not hover above. They weave themselves among the branches, so close you can taste their cool dampness on your lips. The forest is alive with strange inhabitants. Tiny frogs, no larger than your fingernail, sing invisible songs from dripping leaves. Insects, nearly transparent, mimic bark so perfectly you only notice them when they move. Carnivorous pitcher plants dangle like ornaments, waiting patiently for prey to slip into their nectar-filled traps. And high among the branches, rare birds flash feathers of iridescent green and blue, vanishing just as quickly as they appear, like spirits woven from mist. Scientists call these places cloud forests, but to walk through one feels less like visiting a biome and more like stepping into another time. The air is cooler than the lowland jungle, damp but refreshing, filled with the scent of moss and rain. Each droplet of water clings to leaves and drips in slow rhythm, a natural metronome guiding your steps. Even your own breath seems to join the cadence, inhaling with the forest, exhaling with the fog. What makes this place truly remarkable is its isolation. The plants and animals here are adapted so specifically to this belt of mist that they cannot survive anywhere else. A species that thrives at 7,000 feet will wither if carried down the mountain. This has made the cloud forests of Kinabalu an evolutionary crucible, a workshop of nature where uniqueness flourishes. Many species found here exist nowhere else on Earth, endemic treasures hidden in green shadows. But there is more than science in the fog. To the native peoples of Borneo, Kinabalu has always been sacred. Legends tell of spirits dwelling in the mountain, of the fog acting as a veil between the human world and a realm beyond. Even modern climbers speak of an uncanny feeling when the mist grows thick, that the forest itself is aware, watching, breathing. Whether you believe in spirits or not, standing among the cloud-draped trees makes you feel small, reverent, as though you have entered a cathedral built not of stone, but of moss, mist, and silence. Imagine pausing on the trail as twilight falls. The fog thickens until the horizon disappears. There is no up, no down, only shades of silver and green. Water droplets hang in the air like suspended stars, and every sound, the drip of rain, the call of a hidden bird, seems magnified against the hush. You realize that time has slowed. Minutes feel like hours, each step deliberate, each breath part of a rhythm older than memory. The fog forests of Borneo are fragile. Climate change and deforestation threaten their delicate balance, and scientists warn that some of their secrets may vanish before they are fully understood. But for now, they remain. Green sanctuaries wrapped in mist, hidden in plain sight on the slopes of a great mountain. To dream of them is to dream of a place where earth whispers instead of shouts, where every leaf drinks from the sky, and where the boundary between the natural and the mystical grows thin. Close your eyes and imagine standing there. Damp moss beneath your feet, fog curling around your hands, and the faint taste of clouds resting on your tongue. Here, in this forest that breathes mist, you are not an intruder. You are simply another traveler, pausing in the stillness of the mountain's eternal breath. In the desert town of Taos, New Mexico, beneath wide skies and mountains that stand like guardians on the horizon, there is a mystery, not of sight, but of sound, or perhaps more accurately, of something deeper than sound. It is called the Taos hum, a low, constant vibration that only a small fraction of people can hear. For those who do, it is not just strange, it is inescapable. They describe it as a deep droning, like a diesel engine idling somewhere far away, or a hidden generator that never turns off. It is not loud enough to be recorded, nor consistent enough to be measured with instruments. Place microphones in the desert air, and they catch nothing but silence. Yet the hearers, 2 to 5% of the population, swear it is there, vibrating through the bones, humming at the edge of consciousness. Imagine living in such a town. For most residents, the nights are still. They hear crickets, wind, the distant rustle of coyotes. But for the hearers, bedtime means an endless drone, pressing against the skull. Some describe it as not being in the ears, but in the body, like a hidden tuning fork vibrating within the chest. Over time, it becomes exhausting. It keeps people awake, stirs anxiety, and drives some to leave Taos altogether, unable to endure the hum. The mystery is not confined to New Mexico. Similar hums have been reported in Bristol, England, Auckland, New Zealand, Windsor, Canada, and scattered small towns around the world. But Taos became famous because, in the 1990s, scientists took it seriously. Teams from Los Alamos National Laboratory, the University of New Mexico, and Sandia National Labs arrived with sensitive equipment. They interviewed locals, measured vibrations, scanned for electromagnetic signals, and yet they found nothing. No consistent sound waves, no underground machinery, no hidden fault lines that could explain it. Theories multiplied. Some suggested military experiments, secret communication systems, humming at low frequencies. Others pointed to tectonic activity, movements of Earth's crust, too subtle to shake the ground, but powerful enough to send out deep resonances. More biological explanations suggested that the hum might originate within the human body itself, a kind of auditory illusion created by blood flow, muscles, or even the brain misinterpreting its own signals. And then, of course, there are the stranger ideas: alien transmissions, government mind experiments, or Earth itself singing, a planetary heartbeat audible only to a chosen few. Whatever the cause, what unsettles most is not the sound itself, but the fact that only some people hear it. You could sit in the same room as your neighbor. One hears only silence. The other feels trapped by an invisible rumble that won't let go. Imagine the isolation of that. To live with something constant and real to you, yet invisible and denied by others. It is both mystery and torment. Locals who hear it try remedies: white noise machines, earplugs, moving houses, even relocating to other states. For some, the hum fades when they leave Taos, only to return the moment they come back. For others, it follows them, an unwelcome companion, no matter the place. Some grow used to it, adapting their lives to its rhythm. Others never find peace. And yet, there is a strange poetry in the idea of the hum. What if it truly is the earth itself humming, a resonance of the planet, a song of stone and soil that most of us have forgotten how to hear? What if those who suffer from it are not cursed, but simply tuned to a frequency the rest of us cannot perceive? Perhaps long ago, before the world filled with the noise of engines, phones, and machines, we all heard it, the steady pulse of our planet beneath the surface of life. Picture yourself standing in the quiet desert outside Taos. The night is cool, the stars blaze brighter than in any city, and the land lies silent. And then, beneath it all, you sense something, a deep vibration, not through your ears, but through your skin, your bones. It is unsettling, yet strangely intimate, as if the earth is whispering directly into your body. You breathe with it, in and out, and realize that maybe silence is never truly silent. The Taos hum has no answer, and perhaps it never will. But like so many of Earth's strangest mysteries, its power lies not in explanation, but in the reminder it carries, that our world is alive, speaking in ways we do not fully understand. Some mysteries roar, some glow, some vanish without a trace, and some simply hum, soft and steady, waiting for us to listen. Deep in the tangled green heart of the Amazon, where the canopy hides the sun and the air itself feels heavy with life, there flows a river that should not exist. Locals call it Shanai Timpishka, boiled with the heat of the sun. But the sun is not the cause. This is the boiling river of Peru, a body of water so hot it can kill within moments, its currents steaming at temperatures up to 200 degrees Celsius, 93 degrees Celsius. And what makes it most bewildering is that no volcano stands anywhere nearby. At first glance, it looks ordinary, a broad brown river winding through thick rainforest, birds calling from above, monkeys leaping between vines. But step closer, and the illusion shatters. Steam rises in constant veils. The surface ripples with heat, and the smell of minerals tinges the air. Dip your hand in, and it will scald in seconds. If an animal stumbles into its waters, it does not emerge alive. Local shamans whisper that the river is sacred, guarded by spirits, and they treat it with reverence and fear. For centuries, stories of this river spread through the villages of the Amazon, dismissed by outsiders as myth. A river that boiled without fire? Impossible. But in 2011, Peruvian geoscientist Andres Russo followed the stories deep into the forest and found it real. What he discovered stunned even him. The river stretches for nearly 4 miles, consistently hot along its length, wide enough to swim, but deadly to touch. Thermometers plunged into its flow, registered temperatures high enough to boil tea, to cook food, to strip flesh from bone. Science has attempted explanations. Some suggest deep geothermal faults funnel superheated groundwater back to the surface. Rainwater, they argue, may seep miles underground, become heated by Earth's crust, then rise through fissures to feed the river. Yet the nearest volcanic activity lies hundreds of miles away, making this theory incomplete at best. To this day, the precise mechanism remains uncertain. Shanai Timpishka continues to flow, as if Earth has hidden a furnace beneath the forest, venting heat in defiance of logic. The river is more than danger. It is also a sanctuary for rare life. Microorganisms cling to its banks and rocks, adapted to extreme heat. Scientists study them as possible models for how life might survive in alien environments, on Mars or the moons of Jupiter. In this sense, the boiling river is not only a threat, but a laboratory, a window into resilience at the very edges of biology. But for those who live near it, the river is not a scientific puzzle. It is woven into their stories, their rituals, their beliefs. Some tribes view it as a gift from the spirits, others as a warning not to trespass too deeply into sacred land. When mist rises in the cool morning, glowing with the first light of day, it feels less like water and more like a living presence, breathing in rhythm with the jungle. Imagine walking through the dense rainforest, the air buzzing with insects, the ground damp beneath your feet. Suddenly the trees part, and you see it, a river shrouded in steam, its surface trembling with invisible fire. The sound is a low hiss, constant, like a whisper too vast to ignore. You crouch at the edge, feeling the heat against your face, the air shimmering as though the world itself were bending. One misstep would mean disaster, yet you cannot look away. It is terrifying, beautiful, and humbling all at once. The boiling river reminds us that not every wonder must be gentle, not every marvel kind. Some of Earth's secrets sear and burn, daring us to approach and testing the limits of our understanding. It is a reminder that mystery is not only found in stars above or oceans below, but sometimes in the very rivers we thought we knew. Rivers that run hot, as if carrying the heartbeat of the planet itself. High in the Pacific Northwest of the United States towers Mount Rainier, a stratovolcano cloaked in snow and glaciers, a sleeping titan whose beauty hides both danger and wonder. Most visitors see its iconic peak from afar, a white crown above forests and cities. But beneath that frozen crown lies a hidden world few have entered. A labyrinth of glacier caves, shimmering tunnels of ice that shift and collapse with every season. Rainier holds more than 25 glaciers, making it the most glaciated peak in the continental U.S. These rivers of ice creep slowly down its slopes, carving valleys and shaping the land. But within them, meltwater, geothermal heat, and volcanic gases hollow out chambers, passageways, and vaulted halls of crystal blue ice. Entering one is like stepping into another dimension, where light refracts in ghostly hues, and every sound feels magnified by frozen walls. Imagine walking into such a cave. The floor crunches softly, the air is biting cold, and above you, ceilings curve like the arches of a cathedral sculpted by time. Light filters through the glacier, glowing blue, green, and sometimes white, depending on thickness. Drops of water fall steadily, each one echoing like the tick of a giant clock. Beneath the ice, hidden streams roar unseen, reshaping the cave even as you walk. The entire place feels alive, breathing, whispering, warning. These caves are as dangerous as they are beautiful. Walls collapse without notice. Hidden crevasses lie beneath thin crusts of ice, waiting to swallow the careless. Volcanic steam sometimes seeps upward, filling chambers with warmth and sulfur, a paradox of fire beneath ice. Explorers move carefully, knowing that each step might be on ground that will vanish tomorrow. Some caves last for years, others for days, ephemeral miracles sculpted by balance and destruction. Scientists venture into these frozen labyrinths, not only for the thrill, but for discovery. They search for microbes living in the extreme cold, feeding on minerals locked in ice, survivors that could teach us how life endures in hostile environments. They measure ancient air trapped in bubbles, tiny samples of Earth's atmosphere from centuries past, preserved like pages of history in frozen glass. Each cave is a time capsule, holding fragments of both the planet's memory and its restless future. There is poetry in these paradoxes. A volcano beneath, molten and alive, capped by ice that flows, cracks, and reforms. A mountain that threatens with eruption, yet nourishes rivers and forests with its melt. Caves that are solid enough to enter, yet fragile enough to vanish at any moment. To step inside is to be reminded of impermanence, that beauty is often fleeting, that wonder does not last forever, but glimmers only for those who arrive at the right time. Picture yourself deep within one of Rainier's glacier caves. You pause, your breath fogging in the air, your footsteps muffled. All around you is silence. Then a crack echoes above, sharp, final, followed by dripping water that suddenly grows louder. You realize the cave is changing even as you stand there, sculpting itself anew, erasing its own form. You are not only a visitor, but a witness to transformation, standing inside a masterpiece that may never exist again. The glacier caves of Mount Rainier are fragile cathedrals carved by ice and fire, places where geology, biology, and time converge. To know they exist is to feel awe. To enter them is to feel humility, and to leave them is to carry a memory of Earth's fleeting beauty, reminders that our world is alive, never still, always writing new stories beneath our feet. Hidden deep in the remote Serranía de la Macarena mountains of Colombia flows a river so astonishing that locals call it the river that escaped from paradise. Its true name is Caño Cristales, but it is more often known as the liquid rainbow, a stream where water becomes a canvas of shifting color. Red, yellow, green, blue, and black, all glowing at once beneath the tropical sun. For most of the year, Caño Cristales looks like any other river, clear waters tumbling over rocks, winding between jungle hills. But for a few short months, from June to November, after the rainy season, the river transforms. Its secret lies in a rare plant, Macarenia clavigera, which clings to the rocks beneath the current. When conditions are perfect, water level just right, sunlight strong, flow steady, the plants burst into shades of crimson and magenta so vivid they seem unreal. Combined with golden sands, green mosses, black stones, and the sky reflected above, the river becomes a liquid rainbow, a living kaleidoscope shifting with every ripple. Standing on its banks is like gazing into another world. The water is so clear that you see the colors as though they are painted on the riverbed itself, glowing beneath the current. In shallow pools, the reds intensify into deep wine hues, while in faster currents, they shimmer like brushed silk. Tourists who make the difficult journey here often fall silent, stunned, for words seem inadequate in the face of such beauty. Photographs capture fragments, but in person, the colors move and breathe, alive in a way no image can replicate. Legends among local communities say the river is enchanted, a gift of the gods, a bridge between the human world and the spiritual. For centuries, the area was avoided during Colombia's conflicts, and Caño Cristales remained hidden from the outside world. Only in recent decades has it opened to travelers, and even now it remains carefully protected. Access is limited, guides are mandatory, and no one is allowed to camp nearby. Measures meant to safeguard its fragile ecosystem from the damage of careless tourism. Scientists, too, are fascinated. The river's ecosystem exists only here and nowhere else on Earth. The Macarenia plants are as delicate as they are dazzling, requiring precise conditions. Too much rain, and the current washes them away. Too little, and they dry and fade. The balance is so fine that even slight changes in climate could erase this wonder. It is a reminder that beauty often exists in fragility, that the most breathtaking sights are sometimes the most vulnerable. Imagine wading into the cool, shallow water on a sunny afternoon. The riverbed beneath your feet glows like stained glass, reds and yellows swirling around your ankles. You bend down, cup your hands, and lift the crystal-clear water to your lips. It tastes pure, untouched, carrying with it the freshness of the mountains. Above you, parrots wheel in the sky. Beneath you, the rainbow flows. In that moment, you understand why people call it a piece of paradise. Because paradise, after all, is not a faraway dream, but moments when Earth reveals beauty so unexplainable, it feels divine. Caño Cristales is not the largest or longest river. It is not the deepest nor the widest, but it is unique, irreplaceable, a reminder that the planet's wonders are not always vast. They are sometimes delicate threads of color, hidden in remote valleys. And to see it, even once, is to carry its colors in memory forever. A rainbow, etched not in the sky, but in flowing water. In the barren heart of Turkmenistan's Karakum Desert, where endless dunes stretch under a merciless sun, there burns a fire that has not gone out for more than 50 years. Locals call it the door to hell, a vast crater in the earth, glowing with unending flames, a wound in the desert that turns night into day. The story of its birth begins not with myth, but with accident. In 1971, Soviet geologists were drilling for natural gas. Beneath the desert lay vast reserves, and they hoped to tap into one. But during the operation, the ground beneath their rig collapsed, swallowing equipment and opening a cavern more than 200 feet wide. At first, it was simply a pit venting poisonous methane into the air. To prevent disaster, the scientists set it alight, believing the gas would burn away in a matter of weeks. Weeks passed, then months, then years, and the fire did not die. Today, over half a century later, it still roars, an inferno in the desert that shows no sign of stopping. At night, flames leap against the darkness, visible from miles away, casting the dunes in flickering orange light. Standing at the edge, you feel the heat on your skin, hear the hiss and roar of burning earth, and sense something both terrifying and mesmerizing, like staring into the furnace of the planet itself. The crater has become both legend and landmark. Nomadic tribes speak of it with reverence, as though it is not merely a fire, but a gateway to another realm. Travelers arrive from across the world, trekking through desolation, just to stand before the flames. Some describe it as standing at the threshold of another dimension, others as gazing into a reminder of human hubris, how a small mistake can unleash something far beyond control. Scientists know it as the Darvaza gas crater, a man-made scar kept alive by natural fuel reserves beneath. But even with modern understanding, questions remain. How deep does the gas extend? How long will it burn? Could it one day erupt more violently, or will it simply continue, century after century, an eternal torch in the desert? Approaching it is like entering a dream. The desert is silent, stars blaze above, and then suddenly the horizon glows with unnatural fire. The air smells faintly of sulfur, and the ground radiates heat even before you see the flames. And then there it is, a pit alive with orange tongues of fire, swirling and leaping, reflecting in your eyes. You feel small, fragile, a visitor at the edge of something ancient and merciless. For Turkmenistan, the crater is paradoxical. It is both embarrassment and attraction, a reminder of a failed drilling operation, and yet a site of fascination that draws tourists into a desert few would otherwise cross. Governments have debated sealing it, extinguishing the fire once and for all. But each attempt has failed, and so it continues, stubborn, eternal. Perhaps that is fitting. Perhaps the door to hell is not meant to close. It is a warning written in fire, a monument to humanity's tendency to play with forces it cannot master. It is also strangely beautiful, an unintentional wonder where science, accident, and myth collide. Picture yourself standing at its edge at midnight. Around you is only silence, sand, and stars. Below you is an ocean of fire, hissing, raging, endless. You do not know if it will burn for another year or another century. You only know that you are here, alive, watching the earth reveal one of its strangest, most haunting faces. The door to hell reminds us that sometimes our greatest mysteries are not born of nature alone, but of our own hands, and that once unleashed, some fires will never again be tamed. At the edge of the coldest, driest, and most desolate continent on Earth lies a sight so shocking that even hardened explorers once doubted their eyes. In the heart of Antarctica's McMurdo Dry Valleys, a glacier weeps blood. From a fissure in the towering Taylor Glacier, a dark red stream spills onto the white ice below, staining it as though the land itself were bleeding. This phenomenon is known as blood falls, and for decades, no one could explain it. When the crimson waters were first discovered in 1911 by Australian geologist Griffith Taylor, they seemed an impossibility. The surrounding landscape was lifeless, a frozen desert where temperatures plunged far below zero, winds screamed, and not a blade of grass grew. How, in such a place, could there flow a liquid red as fresh blood? Some speculated it was algae, thriving impossibly in sub-zero ice. Others whispered of hidden volcanic activity or even iron from meteorites. But the truth, when it was finally uncovered, proved even stranger. The water of Blood Falls comes from a hidden lake, sealed beneath the glacier for more than 1 million years. This ancient body of water is cut off from sunlight, air, and the outside world, locked beneath hundreds of feet of ice. Yet within it, microbial life persists. Creatures that survive without oxygen, feeding on sulfur and iron in total darkness. When the water seeps upward through cracks and emerges from the glacier, it carries iron-rich brine with it. Contact with the air oxidizes the iron, turning it a deep, rusty red. The glacier does not bleed in death. It bleeds in survival. This discovery astounded scientists. Here, in one of Earth's harshest environments, life not only exists but thrives, teaching us that the boundaries of survival are far wider than we once believed. Some even compare it to conditions on other worlds. If microbes can persist beneath Antarctic ice, feeding on minerals in complete isolation, then perhaps life might also endure in hidden oceans, beneath the frozen crusts of Europa or Enceladus, moons of Jupiter and Saturn. Blood Falls in this way is not just a curiosity. It is a window into the possibilities of life beyond Earth. But beyond science, there is the visceral impact. To stand before Blood Falls is to see something that defies the mind. The white-blue purity of the glacier is slashed by a wound of crimson, as though nature itself had staged a reminder that beauty is not always gentle. The red stream flows silently, staining the ice for meters, spreading like paint across a canvas of white. It is eerie, mesmerizing, unsettling. Picture yourself there. The wind howls across the frozen valley, carrying fine dust that stings your face. Before you looms the glacier, an ancient wall of ice shimmering in pale light, and from its heart, dark water trickles downward, steaming faintly in the cold, staining snow into shades of rust and crimson. The silence is absolute save for the hiss of the wind. You are reminded not of death, but of endurance. That even in places where life should be impossible, it finds a way. Blood Falls is more than a spectacle. It is a paradox, a symbol of resilience, a living contradiction to our assumptions about habitability. It reminds us that beneath the most inhospitable surfaces may lie hidden worlds, thriving in secret. And it whispers something more personal too, that survival, whether of microbes beneath ice or of humans in hardship, is rarely beautiful, but it is always powerful. In northern Tanzania, at the foot of an active volcano, lies a lake that looks like something torn from myth or nightmare. Its surface gleams red and pink under the African sun, its shores crackle with salt, and the air above shimmers with heat. This is Lake Natron, one of the strangest and most forbidding bodies of water on Earth, an expanse so hostile that animals which fall into it often emerge, appearing as though turned to stone. The secret of the lake lies in its chemistry. Fed by mineral-rich hot springs, and with almost no outlets, natron accumulates salts and alkaline compounds in extreme concentrations. Its waters can reach a pH of 10.5, more caustic than household ammonia. Temperatures climb above 60 degrees Celsius, 140 degrees Celsius, near the shore. For most creatures, contact with the water is lethal. Its high alkalinity burns skin, its salts preserve remains. Birds and bats that crash into its surface or are trapped in its waters later wash ashore calcified, their bodies hardened by mineral crusts until they look like eerie statues. Photographs of these stone-like animals have spread worldwide, cementing natron's reputation as a lake of death. And yet, paradoxically, this deadly lake teems with life, if you know where to look. Natron is the only major breeding ground for the lesser flamingo, a bird whose delicate pink plumage contrasts against the harsh reds of the water. Each year, hundreds of thousands gather here, nesting on small salt islands in the lake's shallows. The caustic waters protect them from predators who dare not approach. Within the Death Lake lies Sanctuary, a place where fragility and resilience intertwine. Scientists believe that microorganisms thrive in natron's extremes as well. Hardy algae and cyanobacteria paint the lake in shades of crimson and orange, giving it its otherworldly colors. These microbes, capable of withstanding both heat and alkalinity, form the base of a unique food chain. In this way, the lake becomes a paradox, both graveyard and cradle, hostile killer and gentle protector, sculpting life through fire and brine. Legends surround it, of course. Locals speak of spirits that guard its waters, of curses upon those who enter. From a distance, the lake glows like molten metal beneath the African sun, and one can see why stories took root. Approaching its shores is like walking toward another planet. Crusted white salts underfoot, red waters stretching beyond, and the distant shadow of Oldoinyo Lengai, the mountain of God, looming nearby. The volcano itself spews carbonatite lava, the rarest type in the world, adding yet another layer of strangeness to the landscape. Imagine standing at its edge at dusk. The sky burns with orange and purple, mirrored by the crimson waters below. A flock of flamingos rises in the distance, their wings flashing pink against the dying light. At your feet lies the calcified body of a bird, frozen in perfect detail, feathers and wings intact, as if it had been sculpted by a careful hand. It is unsettling, yet mesmerizing, death and beauty fused into one. Lake Natron is a reminder of Earth's contradictions, that life and death are not opposites here, but partners, that what seems like a curse to one creature may be salvation to another, that even the most hostile places can become havens, if only for those adapted to their fury. It is both a warning and a wonder, a testament to nature's cruelty and creativity alike. To dream of Natron is to dream of a place where water becomes fire, where animals become statues, where pink flamingos dance above a lake of blood. A place where Earth shows its power, not in gentle rivers or fertile valleys, but in its ability to transform, to destroy, and to protect, all at once. In the heart of Brazil, near the lush forests of Chapada dos Veadeiros National Park, lies a landscape that seems torn from another world. The locals call it Vale da Lua, the Valley of the Moon, a place where rivers carve their way through stone, sculpted into shapes so strange, so fluid, that it resembles the surface of an alien planet. Walking into Vale da Lua feels like stepping onto another celestial body. The rocks are smooth, rounded, and curved into impossible forms. Bowls, channels, and craters, polished by the relentless force of water. Shades of gray and silver gleam in the sunlight, and when the sun is high, the surface sparkles faintly with embedded crystals of quartz. The river that runs through it tumbles into narrow slots and deep pools, creating sounds that echo across the stone like whispers from another age. Scientists explain the formation as the work of time and water. For billions of years, the São Miguel River has carved into the ancient granite, shaping it with unyielding patience. The rock here is among the oldest on Earth, nearly 1.8 billion years old, older than most mountains, older than many continents in their current form. It is as if the planet has kept this place as a record of its earliest days, allowing visitors to walk across stone that remembers Earth's youth. The valley's name, Moon, feels fitting. The landscape lacks trees or soil, stripped down to elemental forms of rock and water. Under the light of the sun, it looks surreal, but under the full moon, it becomes ethereal, glowing pale silver as shadows stretch and curve across the smooth surfaces. It is no wonder that visitors often fall silent here. Words falter in the face of such otherworldly stillness. Yet, despite its alien appearance, Vale da Lua is alive. Pools between the rocks hold tiny fish and plants. Birds swoop overhead, dipping to drink from the waters. In the rainy season, torrents of water roar through the channels, filling the valley with thunder and mist, while in the dry season, the pools shrink, leaving behind reflections of sky and clouds. The contrast between the violence of water and the silence of stone is constant, a reminder of the forces that shape our world. Legends cling to the valley as tightly as moss clings to stone. Some local traditions speak of spirits wandering here at night, drawn by the moonlight reflecting on the rocks. Others believe it is a place of energy, a natural temple where the earth's power flows strongly. Travelers often speak of a sense of calm, of clarity, as if the ancient stones themselves radiate memory and wisdom. Imagine lying on the smooth granite at twilight, your back against stone that has existed for nearly 2 billion years. The river murmurs nearby, the air cools, and the first stars pierce the indigo sky. The surface beneath you feels eternal, as though it has watched countless nights like this one, countless moons rise and fall. You close your eyes and realize you are resting on a fragment of Earth's memory, a page of stone in the planet's vast diary. Vale da Lua is more than a valley. It is a reminder of time's patient hand, of water's endless persistence, of Earth's ability to sculpt landscapes as surreal as dreams. To stand there is to feel suspended between worlds, half on Earth, half on some distant moon. And perhaps that is why it touches those who visit so deeply, because in its silence and strangeness, it reminds us that our planet itself is as alien, as mysterious, and as wondrous as any other world we might imagine. Far off the coast of Yemen, in the Arabian Sea, lies an island so strange, so otherworldly, that travelers often describe it as stepping onto an alien planet. This is Socotra, sometimes called the Galapagos of the Indian Ocean. But even that comparison fails to capture its surreal beauty. Nowhere else on Earth looks quite like this place. Socotra's isolation is the key to its wonder. For millions of years, it has been cut off from the mainland, and in that time, life here has taken its own path, evolving into forms that exist nowhere else. Scientists estimate that more than a third of its plant species are endemic, unique to this island alone. Walking through Socotra feels like walking through a botanical dream, where evolution has painted with colors and shapes beyond imagination. The most famous of these plants is the dragon's blood tree. Its trunk rises like an umbrella, splitting into twisting branches that spread flat across the sky. Beneath its canopy, shade collects like a dome, and from its bark seeps a crimson resin known as dragon's blood. For centuries, this sap has been used as medicine, dye, and incense. But to stand beneath the tree is to feel its magic firsthand, like standing under a living sculpture designed for another world. On the horizon, entire groves of these strange trees rise, their silhouettes like mushroom clouds or alien towers against the desert sky. Socotra is not only trees. There are bottle-shaped desert plants swollen with water, bizarre succulents that twist into human-like forms, and flowers that bloom in impossible colors. The land itself is as varied as the life it holds. Limestone plateaus, riddled with caves, mountains rising sharply from the earth, and coastal dunes that glow white under the fierce sun. The contrast between the arid landscapes and the surrounding turquoise sea is breathtaking, a reminder that beauty can thrive in extremes. Legends swirl around Socotra as thickly as its ocean winds. Ancient sailors believed it was guarded by serpents and spirits, a land of both healing and danger. Some medieval maps marked it as home to the phoenix, others as a storehouse of magical herbs. Even today, the island feels mystical. When the monsoon winds blow, the air carries scents of resin and salt, and at night the stars blaze so brightly that the land seems suspended between Earth and cosmos. For the people who live here, Socotra is both home and heritage. They herd goats among the rocky hills, harvest frankincense and dragon's blood resin, and navigate seas that have brought traders and wanderers for centuries. Their traditions are as unique as the land, shaped by centuries of isolation, yet connected to the rhythms of the natural world around them. Scientists and travelers alike often describe Socotra as a living museum of evolution. Some call it the most alien place on Earth, a preview of what landscapes might look like on distant planets. Yet, for all its strangeness, it also feels deeply familiar, because in its twisted trees, its dry winds, and its endless seas, we recognize the creativity of the same Earth that shaped all of us. Imagine standing on a high plateau at dawn. The air is cool, the sea glimmers below, and around you rise dragon's blood trees, their canopies glowing gold in the early light. The silence is complete, broken only by the faint cry of a seabird far below. In that moment, Socotra feels like a dream you never want to wake from, a reminder that our world still holds corners untouched by time, where mystery thrives and wonder grows in strange, alien forms. Socotra is not just an island. It is a vision, a testament to isolation's power, and proof that Earth's imagination is greater than our own. On the eastern edge of California's Sierra Nevada mountains lies a body of water that looks less like a lake and more like a dreamscape. Its surface glitters under the sun, its waters shimmer with unnatural hues, and its shoreline rises into forests of stone that seem sculpted by alien hands. This is Mono Lake, a place as haunting as it is beautiful, and one of the most unusual lakes on Earth. Mono Lake is ancient, at least 760,000 years old, making it one of North America's oldest continuous bodies of water. It has no natural outlet, meaning that every mineral carried in by streams has stayed trapped within for hundreds of thousands of years. Over time, the lake has become saltier and more alkaline than seawater, a cauldron of chemistry that few creatures can survive. Its waters are undrinkable, its taste bitter and sharp, its touch faintly oily. To many, it would seem a dead place. And yet, Mono Lake thrives. Its secret lies in the base of its food chain. Billions of brine shrimp swarm the waters each summer, tiny creatures perfectly adapted to its harsh chemistry. Alongside them thrive alkali flies, whose larvae live underwater, feeding on microscopic algae. To an outsider, these insects are unremarkable, but to Mono Lake's ecosystem, they are everything. For above the water, hundreds of thousands of migratory birds descend each year, feasting on shrimp and flies in an endless, shimmering banquet. The lake, though poisonous to us, is a sanctuary to them. But the most haunting feature of Mono Lake is its strange stone towers, known as tufa formations. Rising from the water like spires, castles, or petrified trees, these limestone structures form when underwater springs rich in calcium mix with the lake's carbonate-heavy waters. Over centuries, the minerals build into bizarre, twisted shapes. When the lake's level dropped, due in part to water diversions by Los Angeles in the 20th century, these hidden towers emerged, revealing a ghostly city of stone along the shores. Walking among them at sunrise, when the light turns them gold and the water glows pink, feels like stepping into the ruins of a forgotten world. The lake also holds stories of survival. For the Kutsadika'a people, who have lived around Mono Lake for centuries, the alkali flies were a vital source of food. They harvested the larvae, known as kutsavi, drying them into a nutrient-rich staple. What seemed strange and unusable to outsiders was, in truth, a gift of the lake, sustaining generations in harmony with its rhythms. And then there are the mysteries. Scientists once discovered bacteria in Mono Lake that seemed to incorporate arsenic into their very DNA, something once thought impossible. Though later debated, the findings sparked questions about life's adaptability, not just here, but on other planets. If organisms can survive in waters as salty, alkaline, and toxic as Mono Lake's, could life not also endure in equally harsh alien seas? To stand on its shore is to feel suspended between worlds. The Sierra Nevada rise sharply to the west, their snowcaps reflected in the shimmering lake. The air smells faintly of minerals, sharp and clean. Around you, tufa towers twist into strange shapes, some like fingers, others like spirals, others like frozen smoke. And in the distance clouds drift lazily, mirrored on the rippling surface. At dusk, the sky burns orange and violet, and the towers cast long shadows across the water, as if the earth itself were remembering an ancient story written in stone. Mono Lake is paradox, toxic and lifeless to us, yet overflowing with creatures that depend on it. Desolate and strange, yet achingly beautiful. It is proof that nature's imagination is not bound by human expectation, that even in places of salt and stone, life finds a way, beauty takes root, and mystery thrives. High above the earth, where clouds drift like silent continents, there sometimes appears a vision so dazzling, so improbable, that those who witness it are left in awe. It is not lightning, nor aurora, nor ordinary rainbow. It is something rarer still, the circumhorizontal arc, more poetically known as a fire rainbow. Despite its name, it is not fire, nor is it truly a rainbow. It is a phenomenon of light and ice, a fleeting alignment of the heavens. Fire rainbows occur when the sun climbs high in the sky, at least 58 degrees above the horizon, and its rays strike cirrus clouds composed of millions of tiny plate-like ice crystals. When the light enters the crystals at just the right angle, it refracts and disperses into brilliant bands of color. Instead of a curved arch after rain, the colors blaze across the sky in a long, fiery streak, as though the heavens themselves have caught flame. The effect is mesmerizing. The spectrum glows vividly, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, violet, stretching in bands that shimmer with an intensity ordinary rainbows rarely achieve. Unlike the delicate hues of a storm-born rainbow, a fire rainbow seems to burn, its colors sharp and radiant against the pale sky. To those below, it feels less like a natural event and more like a vision, a message written in light. Because the conditions are so precise, fire rainbows are rare. Many will go their whole lives without seeing one. They occur only in specific latitudes, often in summer, when the sun reaches the necessary height. Even then, they depend on cirrus clouds being in just the right place, their ice crystals aligned in just the right way. A moment too soon or too late, and the sky is empty again. The rarity only adds to their power. When the heavens ignite in color, it feels like a gift, a fleeting miracle not meant for all eyes. Legends and interpretations abound. Some cultures once saw fire rainbows as omens of great change, either warning or blessing. Others treated them as pathways of spirits, the sky briefly opening to let the divine look down. In modern times, photographers chase them like treasures, waiting for the alignment of sun and cloud that might last only minutes. Even then, no camera can fully capture the intensity of standing beneath one, watching the sky burn with color. Imagine witnessing it yourself. The day is bright, the air still. You glance upward and pause, disbelieving. Across the expanse of blue stretches a band of light so vivid it seems unreal, glowing with the full spectrum, as if someone had painted fire upon the sky. The colors ripple faintly as the clouds shift, alive, dynamic, fleeting. People around you stop in their tracks, their voices hushed, for everyone senses that something extraordinary has appeared. And then, just as suddenly as it came, the arc fades, swallowed back into the ordinary sky, leaving behind only memory. Science explains the fire rainbow as optics, as angles, as light bent through ice. But explanation does not diminish wonder. If anything, it deepens it. To know that such beauty is hidden in plain sunlight and simple crystals, waiting only for the perfect alignment, is to realize how much magnificence the world contains beyond our daily perception. The fire rainbow is a reminder that the sky is not static, not empty, but a canvas forever shifting. That miracles need not last long to matter. That sometimes, for a brief and precious moment, the heavens open and show us light in its purest form. Fire without heat, rainbow without rain, a fleeting glimpse of the extraordinary, written across the ordinary sky. Off the coast of Belize, in the Caribbean Sea, lies one of the most breathtaking underwater wonders on Earth, the Great Blue Hole. From above, it appears as a perfect circle of deep dark blue, set into the lighter turquoise of the surrounding reef. Almost 1,000 feet across and over 400 feet deep, it looks like the ocean itself has been pierced by a colossal eye, staring into the abyss. The Great Blue Hole is part of the Belize Barrier Reef, the second largest reef system in the world. Formed during the last ice age, it began as a limestone cave above sea level. As the oceans rose, the cave flooded and its roof collapsed, leaving behind a massive sinkhole. Today, its vertical walls descend into darkness, lined with stalactites that once hung in dry air, but now lie hidden far below the waves. To dive here is to descend not only into water, but into time itself. Divers who enter the hole describe a world both beautiful and eerie. At the surface, the water is clear and vibrant, filled with tropical fish, coral, and rays, gliding gracefully. But as you sink deeper, light fades quickly. The brilliant blues turn to shadowy indigo, then to near black. Giant stalactites loom out of the gloom, ancient guardians from a world long gone. Few creatures live in the depths. It is silent, vast, and isolating, a descent into the quiet heart of the earth. The Great Blue Hole gained global fame in the 1970s, when explorer Jacques Cousteau declared it one of the top dive sites in the world. Since then, it has drawn divers and scientists alike. In 2018, an expedition mapped its floor for the first time, discovering conical structures formed by hydrogen sulfide and even evidence of life clinging to its dark walls. The hole is not empty. It is alive in ways we barely understand. From above, the sight is unforgettable. A perfect sapphire circle set into a turquoise sea, it seems unnatural, almost crafted. Surrounded by islands and shallow reefs, the Great Blue Hole glows like a portal, as though the ocean holds a secret gateway to another world. For many, it symbolizes the mystery of the deep, how much we still do not know about the waters that cover most of our planet. Imagine standing on a boat at sunrise, the sea calm, the air still. You look down and see it, a dark, perfect circle expanding beneath you, so deep it swallows light. The horizon glows pink, the waves lap softly, but all your attention is fixed on that hole in the sea, that abyss that feels both inviting and terrifying. You realize how thin the line is between wonder and fear, between the beauty of the ocean and its vast, unknowable depths. The Great Blue Hole is not just a sinkhole. It is a reminder that our planet holds voids and mysteries we have barely touched. A place where geology, ocean, and imagination meet in a single circle of blue. Far to the north, where nights stretch long and cold, the sky sometimes awakens with colors that seem to come from another world. Curtains of green ripple above the horizon, streaks of purple twist like ribbons, and flashes of red and blue shimmer like celestial fire. This is the aurora borealis, the northern lights, one of Earth's most breathtaking displays. The science behind it is as fascinating as the sight itself. The aurora is born when charged particles from the sun stream toward Earth on solar winds. Our magnetic field catches them and funnels them toward the poles, where they collide with atoms in the upper atmosphere. Oxygen glows green and red. Nitrogen shines purple and blue, and together they paint the heavens with shifting light. It is solar fire turned into dance, a cosmic ballet written in color. But knowing the explanation does not lessen the wonder. To witness the aurora is to feel the universe come alive above you. The lights move with grace, shimmering, rippling, folding in on themselves like silk in the wind. Sometimes they flicker faintly, like whispers of green barely visible. Other times, they explode across the entire sky, so bright they cast shadows on the snow. The show is never the same twice. Each night brings a new pattern, a new rhythm, a new dance of light. For those who live beneath them, the lights have always carried meaning. Ancient Norse legends told of the Valkyries, their armor shining as they rode across the sky to guide fallen warriors. Inuit stories described spirits playing ball with a walrus skull, the sparks of their game lighting the heavens. In Finland, people once believed the aurora was born from the tail of a magical fox sweeping across the snow, scattering sparks into the night. Even today, standing beneath the aurora feels like standing inside a myth. Travelers chase the northern lights across Iceland, Norway, Canada, and Alaska, waiting in frozen silence for the sky to stir. Some wait weeks, even months, for the right conditions. A clear sky, strong solar activity, darkness deep enough to reveal the stars. And when it happens, when the heavens ignite, it is more than worth the wait. People weep, fall silent, or laugh in disbelief, because there is no preparation for beauty on such a scale. Picture yourself in the Arctic wilderness, snow crunching beneath your boots, breath rising in white clouds. The night is so dark that the stars feel endless, scattered in billions across the sky. Then, a faint glow appears on the horizon. Slowly it grows, shimmering green, stretching upward like a veil. It bends and twists, spreading overhead, and suddenly the entire sky erupts in movement, waves of light cascading above you, flowing from one horizon to the other. Time seems to stop. You are no longer just a person on Earth. You are part of the universe, watching it reveal its artistry. The aurora borealis reminds us that the sky is not silent. It is alive, responding to the sun, to invisible winds that sweep across space. It is a connection between our small world and the vast cosmos, a reminder that even in darkness, beauty can appear suddenly, fiercely, magnificently. And in those moments, beneath curtains of fire and color, you understand that the universe itself can be a storyteller. In the highlands of Bolivia, more than 12,000 feet above sea level, lies a place so vast and so surreal that it seems less like a landscape and more like a dream. Stretching for over 4,000 square miles, it is the largest salt flat in the world. Salar de Uyuni. From horizon to horizon, the land is covered in a perfect sheet of white, so flat and bright that it reflects the sun like polished glass. But when rains come, Salar transforms into something even more extraordinary, the largest mirror on Earth. Standing there after a storm, you no longer know where sky ends and Earth begins. A thin film of water spreads across the salt, turning the entire plateau into a flawless reflection. Clouds drift beneath your feet, mountains float upside down, and walking feels like gliding through the heavens. Travelers describe it as stepping into infinity, as though the world has dissolved and left only light, sky, and silence. The Salar was born millions of years ago, when prehistoric lakes dried, leaving behind a vast crust of salt. Beneath the surface lie enormous reserves of lithium, the metal now powering much of the modern world. But despite its economic value, the salt flat retains an aura of sacredness. For local communities, it is a land of legends, believed to have been formed by the tears of a giantess, mourning her lost love, her sorrow crystallized into endless white plains. During the dry season, the ground cracks into perfect hexagonal tiles, patterns stretching as far as the eye can see, geometric art sculpted by nature's hand. In the rainy season, the transformation is total. Vehicles drive across the mirror as if floating through clouds. At night, under a sky ablaze with stars, the reflection doubles the cosmos until you seem to stand inside the universe itself, stars above and stars below, endless and eternal. Imagine standing barefoot on the salt at dawn. The air is thin and cool, the horizon still dusky. As the sun rises, its light spreads across the mirrored surface, and suddenly You are surrounded by fire and gold. The world doubled, reflected perfectly beneath your feet. Every step feels weightless, every sound swallowed by silence. In that moment, you are no longer bound by earth. You are walking through the sky. Salar de Uyuni is not just a landscape. It is an illusion, a paradox, a reminder of how thin the line can be between reality and dream. It shows us that Earth is capable of beauty so vast, it overwhelms the senses, so delicate it can vanish with the drying of water, and so powerful it can make even the most hardened traveler weep. It is fitting that Salar comes just before the end of our journey, for it embodies everything these wonders share: mystery, beauty, fragility, and the sense that the world is always more than it seems. And so, our journey across the strange, the beautiful, and the mysterious corners of our world comes to an end. From boiling rivers hidden in the Amazon to the silent fires of the Turkmen Desert, from alien islands and rainbow rivers to skies painted with light, we have seen that Earth is not just a planet. It is a storyteller. Every mountain, every cave, every lake and sea holds a memory, a secret, a reminder that wonder still thrives all around us. Perhaps the greatest lesson in these stories is that beauty and mystery are everywhere, not only in the extraordinary, but also hidden in the ordinary. The glow of the aurora, the shimmer of a salt flat, the voice of a glacier. These are not just spectacles to be observed, but invitations to remember that we are part of something vast, alive, and endlessly creative. As you step back from this journey, let these wonders linger in your mind. Carry them with you into the quiet hours, into the restless nights, into the mornings when you need to remember that the world is still full of miracles. Let them remind you that life is not measured only by time, but by the moments when we stand in awe. Thank you for traveling with us through these landscapes of mystery and light. If you enjoyed this journey, don't forget to support our channel, share your thoughts, and tell us from where and at what time you are listening. Your presence is part of this adventure, and your voice makes our community stronger. Until next time, when new stories and hidden wonders await, this has been Journey Through Time.